Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another live Q&A session from the Business Circle, brought to you by AT&T. Really happy to have all of you join us for this event today. And we've got the holidays square in our crosshairs here today. We're just days away from Black Friday. We've got Small Business Saturday right on the heels of that. Then we go into Cyber Monday. The whole holiday season, which is kind of one of those shorter holiday seasons this year. We'll talk a little bit about that. But what we want to do today is give you tips and ideas of how you can cash in, especially as a small business. Could be a retail shop on Main Street, could be a small online retailer. We're going to have ideas for all of you. You sell a good, we'll talk about that. You sell a service, we'll talk about that as well. So a lot to go on. A couple ways you can interact with us here today. One, use our webcast player. You can type in questions and comments, and I invite you to do that throughout the presentation. And then I will be mixing those in as we go along. So we're not just going to wait till the very end. If you have great questions on the content we're talking about, we'll mix in your question. On Twitter, you want to be social out there with other people, hashtag BizCircleLive. Get your questions, comments there. You might have some, what if I try this? What if I do that? Share those with us. And again, we'll ask those of our featured guest. We're happy to have Rieva Lesonsky on board with us here today. She is the CEO of Growbiz Media. We're going to talk a little bit about what her company does. It's a content media creation company, and we'll talk about how they work with small businesses like yours out there to create content to attract new people into their businesses. And we're going to be really kind of diving into as much as we can in the 1 hour we have. And Rieva, that's not a lot of time. No. But we'll get through as much as we can. Again, my name is James Hilliard. Very happy to be on board as the moderator for the event. I'm going to make you all a promise right now. We're talking retail. We're talking numbers and sales. We promise not to drown you in numbers. But I do need to start with a number because I think it sets a foundation, Rieva. $800 about is what the average family in the U.S. is expected to spend this year on Christmas-type shopping, on holiday shopping. That's an increase over the last year. It's been increasing slightly every year. Is that a good sign? Do you see that as a good sign for small businesses?
It's a really good sign for small businesses because, and I agree, we're not going to drown you in numbers. But not only is that up 5% from last year, but we also have stats that say more people are going to be shopping, not just on, you know, Cyber Monday and Black Friday and Small Business Saturday, but throughout the season. And there's some anomalies this year that you also have to look out for. So if you're a small business owner, whether you're online or if you have a retail store, you need to, this is it. You don't have a whole lot of time. You need to make sure you're up and ready because people will be there ready to shop.
Let's do this. I want to start off with 2 tips. We'll start with that retail store. Maybe it is on Main Street, USA somewhere. It's in that downtown area that's been revitalized. What's the one tip that you'll start off with? Saying something you can do that will most likely help continue to generate sales for you in this very short time leading up to, again, Black Friday and these other days we've mentioned.
So one of the things that I really think that small business owners they get caught up in the frenzy of the Black Friday and the Cyber Monday, and understand that the people might be going to those big box stores on that day because super discounts, and that's okay. Not everybody gets their shopping done then. There was another survey I saw that said that actually almost half of Americans don't plan to shop till December. So you have time to create a welcoming neighborhood environment that people not only are going to want to come and do their holiday shopping, but they're going to come back all year round. And that's really the most important thing that you can do.
Is create that environment, a place they want to be. Let's do the same question for the virtual store. They don't have a retail environment. They don't have a place for people can go except for a website. What's a tip that we can give people right out of the gate again that can help them benefit this holiday season?
Well, first of all, right now you have, what, 10 days and until, or not quite, but close to that much time, is test everything. Make sure everything's working. Make sure your shopping carts are working. Make sure your servers can handle it. Talk to your web host. You know, you're not going to get millions and millions of shoppers. Let's be realistic. But depending on how much bandwidth you have, you may not have enough. And so you want to test now. You don't want to find out in the midst of the shopping season that you're somehow lacking.
Yeah, that either the site is down or there are features that aren't working, can't be seen on a mobile device. We'll definitely talk a lot about mobile. Let's go back to creating a community and a place that people want to go. Small businesses, I think, have the benefit of being able to get to know their customer and create that relationship. But I have a sense in some of the small stores that I visit, they don't take the effort in time to create that relationship with me. That is something you're really big on, is learning how and helping businesses learn how to create the relationship with their customers.
I think that's the thing that you have that the big box stores can never match. It's the personal, welcoming relationship. If you get to know your customers, you get to know their shopping patterns or what they like, they're gonna, it's sort of like on Cheers where everybody knows your name. They're gonna walk into your store, they're gonna feel like kind of a member of your family that you're going to take care of them. They're going to trust you, they're going to like you, and people do business. I mean, it's an old cliche with people they like and trust, but it's true. And so that's really important for you and your staff to be up to date on everything you're selling and to make sure that everybody feels welcomed in your store.
So that means if I'm the owner and I'm behind the desk ringing someone up, I might not be able to go out immediately to see someone that just came in, but it's the quick look up and just say hi, and then when you're free, go out and say, hey, what can I help you with, and create the personal.
Right. Say, are you finding everything you're looking for? You know, some customers are not alike. Some are too shy to go up and ask you for help, but you can. You know, if you're a seasoned retailer, you can tell, you know, somebody's looking around, they look a little lost, they look a little overwhelmed. And one of the things that I think retailers can do is think ahead of time of what is the shopper going to need, and maybe group like items together. You know, don't set your store up a little differently for the holidays, so you make it easy for people so they don't have to wander and find things. And you might find things that go together, maybe provide some baskets or show them what a basket would look like for smaller items that they could group together and make a festive package with.
I'm thinking of a boutique store in my hometown, and they could, and I remember things were kind of just hodgepodge in different areas on shelves, but if taking that advice, it would be put the hand-painted wine glasses with the little stoppers with the coasters, right? So group those together so people can see different ideas, and oh, well, they already have the corkscrew thingy. Oh, but they don't have this.
Right. So you don't want to have them wandering all over the store, because people get anxious if the store is a little crowded. They're like, oh, I got to get out of here, but the line's so long. And so you want to create, the whole thing is to create a really calm shopping environment. You know, they're going to be having fist fights in the aisles. We've all seen the videos, right? So you want your store to be like the oasis, the respite from all the holiday madness. Come in, maybe serve some beverages, have some holiday cookies out. Just do the kind of thing where people can walk in there and go,
because the big box stores and that whole mentality, and what gets a lot of the media attention in terms of Black Friday and all that, is the competition of retail. And you're saying don't compete because you probably can't compete.
Right. You cannot compete on price. That's the big thing. The big box stores, it's all about the price. It's all about the deep discounts and prices. If you try to compete on price with them, you're going to go out of business. You don't have the margins to make that happen. So you have to shine where you can compete on service, you can compete on uniqueness of items, you can compete on being helpful, on being courteous, on providing maybe some freebies, some extras that the other stores, their whole game is to bring them in and churn them out. You know, it's sort of like fast food as compared to a nice tablecloth restaurant.
A sit-down meal, and it doesn't have to then cost a lot of money, right? That jar of cranberry juice or sparkling cider or something that's festive tied towards the holidays, really cheap and easy to set up, but brings it and pays off so much more dividends.
Right. And one of the things, you know, neighborhood stores don't exist in a vacuum. There's not just one store on Main Street. You're surrounded by a lot of other local small business owners just like yourself. Get together, see what you can do. Maybe there's a restaurant and maybe they'll give you the cranberry juice, or a bakery that will offer the cookies in exchange for, some flyer on the table that says, hey, down the street, this is where we got our cookies, or here's a discount for the cookies, go down there. And so get together. It's when you're on Main Street, right? You're competing with a lot of other places. You're competing with malls. You're competing with online. So take advantage of the atmosphere that you have and the people that are around you to create that place that people just want to come to and stay.
The business circle. is a community.
Yes.
And our goal here is to share with all of you and have you also share back with us your stories, challenges, successes, things like that. And so I love that aspect of getting those. I was even going back to that hand-painted little wine glass. Could that not be at a restaurant for the local Italian place and people say, hey, this is a really great glass and has a little tie around it that says from this store or what have you. It's that type that you're talking about, a little bit of that cross promotion.
There is. There's a fairly new company called Alignable, and it's alignable.com, and they started in order to create those, they go into Main Street and say, hey, you guys should be working together to create this kind of atmosphere, because people aren't going to come into Main Street, park in front of your store, go in there and not shop the rest of the street. And so if you all get together and maybe create a special shopping night, not on Black Friday or, even in addition to Small Business Saturday, create a time. If close to 50% of people are going to be shopping in December, pick some day in the first week or the first 10 days of December and create that where it's a special occasion for people in your town to come and shop and check out everybody's merchandise and cross-promote within that downtown Main Street or wherever you happen to be in town. You're going to not only benefit yourself, you're going to benefit everyone around you.
And that's something that could start now. I mean, we're just days away from some of those big shopping days, but you could push it out to December 15th is going to be our day, and we're going to do this. And maybe it starts with the 5 of you now, but it grows to 10 or 12 or 20 next year and the year after, because the community sees, wait a second, these people are working together.
Yes, exactly. And everybody likes to be part of a community. They feel good about shopping in their hometown. A lot of statistics this year. We've seen surveys from several different companies that say people want to shop local. They've gotten that in their head now, that they understand the power of shopping local. So take advantage of that by making them not only come in now, but that alignment that you're having with other merchants, it should be all year round. You should join together and have special occasions throughout the year to have people in your community come in.
You could do it end of school.
Yes.
You could do it around other traditional holidays, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, those types of things. But start it now.
Yes.
And then evolve.
And even if you're not, maybe on Valentine's Day, let's say. So, we know that there are certain merchants that are going to do better on Valentine's Day than others. Jewelers, florists, restaurants. But even if you're not one of those, if you're working with other local businesses, you can benefit from some overflow traffic. People who are down there to buy the jewelry or to buy the flowers are going to, if you kind of promote it and bring people in, they're going to come in no matter whether you're specializing in that or not.
Let's make sure we focus on folks that just have a virtual presence, because we can't put out the cranberry juice and sparkling cider online. Just doesn't work well with technology. Not yet.
Not yet.
One day maybe, right? With a little dispenser on the side of our computers. What can we do if we have the virtual, and maybe this is also not just strictly virtual, but we've got our retail store presence, but we also have our virtual site. How do we dress that up? How do we make that online oasis as opposed to the really frenzied online sites of the big box stores?
So I think one of the things, again, taking from grouping like items together on a table, right? So how do you recreate that online? So if somebody's looking at something and maybe they've put it in their cart, but even if they've been looking at it a long time, have suggested things you might also like, things that go together so they don't have to. The one thing that deters a lot of people from shopping online is they can't see everything at once, right? So they're like, okay, where do I go? How do I get there? What else is there? So if you make those suggestions for them, that's going to help a lot. And offer them in different price points. One of the things that I think really benefits a lot of websites, especially trying to sell things at the holiday, is put, what's your price range? Or either give them the range, like under $25, 25 to 50, and kind of narrow it down. I mean, once you get higher up, you can do 100 or more, 300 or more, but narrow it down so people aren't looking through hundreds of items to find the 5 things that you might have for less than $25. Make it easy.
Well, what it sounds like you're saying is do what we've seen a lot of the big retailers do online. Gifts for her.
Yes.
Gifts for him. For the teen in your life. That type, replicate that. And I guess it goes to a bigger idea, and I'll ask your opinion. as a retailer, small business, we should kind of know what we like and what we don't like. We should know the experiences that we've had at another store and said, hey, I really like that, or I don't. I don't think we borrow enough as small businesses and say, well, maybe I should try that.
That's exactly true. I think as business owners, we put our business owner hat on and we're so concentrated on making the business decisions, we forget we're also consumers. We've all shopped online, we've all shopped in stores, we've all had great experiences, we've all had horrible experiences. So think about what you like and see how you can adapt that to your own website or your own store, and think about what you don't like and make sure you're not doing it. Sometimes you set up, maybe your business is 5 years old and you haven't shopped your site recently. So one of the things that I always recommend is maybe not you, but have your friends, because you might know a little too much even subconsciously. Have your friends go and shop your website once a quarter to see what's the hitch? Was there a problem? Did something go away? Did something not happen that you thought was happening? And constantly check. This is not the you can check this week, but starting next week, this is not the time to check. Everything should be in place.
Right, it should be there so you can capitalize on what's going on. Let's talk, during our registration for the event, folks were able to submit questions. One of the questions that came in was about emailing. And when sending out advertisements or even just emailing to the list that you have, ways that you could craft that email to connect with your customers for the here and now. And I want to go back to talking about how to position that, because right now, I feel I'm getting yelled at by a whole lot of emails, and so I'm starting to tune a whole lot of them out.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because again, I think it goes back to a small business can use email as a tool to make a connection, not just yell at me, price, 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 price.
It's go back to its neighborhood, its community, its environment. Subject lines matter in email. That is like the most important way to get your email open. And so instead of saying deep discounts, because you're right, everybody this week is like our sale ends Sunday, and then on Monday it's like, wait, we've extended it one more day. So nobody has any credibility. That's not going to make anybody buy. So do something like, support our town. Put your town's name in there if you're really local, or find some surprising, unique items. It's not about I grew up on Long Island and we had that racetrack out, and they would go Sunday, and it's not that. It's, hey, come in here. The holidays are really stressful, cacophonous times for most consumers. So if you can provide the quiet for them, but they know they're going to get help, they're going to do business with you, and they're going to remember that.
And potentially saying that, hey, we can help you shop for that person in your life. We've got a selection of this and that, and if you don't, we'll walk you through our store. We'll show you things.
Need gift ideas, or we have great gifts for teens. Make sure your subject line says what it is that you're trying to sell without having the hard sell in it.
Let's talk a little bit about frequency, maybe, of these email communications. I can tell you from some of the big box stores that I'm affiliated with through value cards and things like that, every day, 2 times a day or more. A small business could get lost in a lot of that noise. Do we want to compete on that volume of connection, or should we, do a smaller send window? What are your thoughts there?
Well, first of all, think about the timing of your email. So one of the things that a lot of people do is they think that they need to send it overnight, so it'll show up at somebody's inbox in the morning. Well, and I just heard this 2 weeks ago at a conference from somebody who owns a rather large email services company, and she said that the key is now people are so inundated with emails, they do what she calls the morning dump. They open their email and they go delete, delete, delete. They're not even looking. And so you don't want to do that. The prime time is between 11 and 2. And so what you can do locally, particularly if you're a local business, you know what time zone you're in. It's a little harder if you're trying to market nationally, but you know what time zone you're in. So if you have that email delivered between 11 and 2, maybe if your community has a lot of working parents in it, don't do it on Tuesday and then not do it closer to the weekend, because chances are there's going to be a lot of weekend shopping. If you are announcing, however, that you're now going to be, for the holidays, more convenient hours that you're going to be open, make sure that people see that, because in their head, well, they know that you close at 8 o'clock every day. But if you're really going to be open to 11, you want to make sure that you have people coming in the doors or you're wasting money. So you can do that earlier in the week. I think 3 times a week is not a bad schedule for a local retailer. And I would always do one on Friday as people are making their weekend shopping plans.
Yeah, as they're getting ready for that. Doing I want to pick up on the extended hours. Most people have the hours kind of small little box, right-hand side of the site. You might see it or whatever. Put that across the top banner,
yes,
potentially. And that can be either, and obviously if you're a retail site that has the web presence, then you want to make that loud on your website so people know you can stop in here after dinner. We're a great place to shop at lunchtime, so you don't have to come back downtown after work.
Exactly. And one of the things that I think not only is a tip for this time of year, but a tip for everywhere, on the front of your store, make your hours readable, not just from someone being at your door. But there are times when I was like, oh, I wonder what time maybe I'm doing something else. I wonder what time that store opens in the morning, and I'll drive by and I can't, and even curb, I can't see it from my car. Well, I'm not going to get out of my car at night to see what time you open. So make it, it doesn't have to be a poster, but it should be able to be visible so people know, and say special store hours. The word special is a key for it's like a trigger for a lot of shoppers. So special store hours, and maybe you pick one night, around maybe the 15th of December or something, or in that week where you're open till 11, but you kind of make it festive, make it a party, make sure people know we're staying open tonight just for you. We've got extra stuff in here. We want to really help you wrap up your Christmas shopping.
And that window chalk, the window paint, I mean, that could be the big numbers of how late we're open, and really kind of get the word out there. We can use the banners on the top of our websites to do it. Let's make sure our retail location is advertising that as well.
And make sure, one of the things, my dad owned a store, a men's clothing store when I was a kid, and window displays are really key. Think about window displays as a way to capture, it's like the cover of a book. You're trying to say to somebody, come in here. So if your window display is sloppy, or it doesn't really connote what you're doing, or not celebrating the season, people who are walking down Main Street are going to walk right on by. But if you make it inviting, just by looking at your window display, people are going to, oh, I want to go in that store. I want to see what they have. So you don't want to crowd it where it's, where am I going to look? But you really want to put things on display and make it basically saying, come on in, you are going to love what you see inside.
That's a lost art. I really think, and I think it was an art. I, for a brief time, worked at Trader Joe's through high school and college, and I used to create the end cap displays and do the chalk writing on there, and I really enjoyed that. It was a fun little artistic expression for me, and I don't see that in a lot of small businesses, and I think that could be one of those little things, it's just being a little more artistic in the delivery and showcasing of material. So
right. It's about capturing attention, right? Anything different is going to capture someone's attention.
BizCircle Live is our hashtag. So hashtag BizCircle Live. If you have questions or comments you want to share with us on Twitter, if you want to use our webcast platform, by all means continue to submit those questions and comments. If you again have any kind of, what if I did this, Rieva? I'd love to see 1 or 2 of those come on in, because it's always fun to look at and use your experience to see, hey, has this worked before or not? Rieva spent 30 years with Entrepreneur Magazine, was the editorial director there. That's a long period of time to watch small businesses.
Yes.
And you've seen so much now. I've got to imagine that while there is so much more going on, there's so much more competition these days, it's also really kind of a great time to be a small business person, because there's that kind of a revival of people wanting to slow down and ease back and go back. And so it's a great opportunity for small businesses to embrace the opportunity to get to know the customer. I'm coming back to what we started on, but that ultimately here is a key.
As I said, my dad owned a store, and it was a neighborhood store in Bayside, Queens. So every little neighborhood had their own set of stores, and then the era of the malls came. I'm revealing my age. And he didn't want to go to a mall. It was too impersonal. He didn't want to work mall hours. And eventually his store went out of business because people stopped shopping in the neighborhood. Well, we now have a revival of people shopping in the neighborhood. And you can go into neighborhoods and you see stores like my dad's, used to be. And that's the key. That's the people want. So you have people my age who want to go back to that because they remember that. And you have a lot of younger people who are really into supporting their local community. The millennials are really, they're very cause related too. So you might be able to have a special giveaway, a special one day where you're going to donate a portion of your proceeds or a portion of your profits to a cause, to a charity. And people really like to see that, particularly if it's a local charity. People feel like they're part of this neighborhood, and that's what they want to feel like. And I think the more that you can do to create that environment, which means knowing your customers. I'll never forget one day I was working with my dad, and I always worked before holidays. So I can't remember if this was Christmas or Father's Day or whatever, but I'm there. I was about 14, 15 years old, and a guy walked in the store and he goes, "Go help him match his ties to his shirt." And I'm like, sassy teenager, and I'm like, he's a grown-up, he can match his own ties to his shirt. My father said, he's colorblind, go help him match his ties to his shirt. He knew that about him. So the guy obviously had to explain once that he was colorblind, but never had to do it again. So where would he shop? He's always going to come back into that store where he doesn't have to explain himself, where people know what his needs are and going to help him.
And where he felt comfortable.
Yes.
That was your dad.
Yes.
He knew that. And oftentimes I find out that the owner of that small business, they're so invested, they do know everything. Sometimes though that employee doesn't.
Right.
And let's talk a little bit about the importance to train, whether it's that full-time help that's always with us, and get them ready for the holidays as well, because it's going to be a little crazier. It's going to be a little more stressful, so we need to work with them. Also, we're going to have part-time holiday help. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of training our workers to feel as owners as well and to deliver that type of personal service. That
is crucial, because that is one point where you can outdo a big box store any day of the week. If you have, whether it's weekly trainings with your staff, a new product comes in, let's all try it. Let's use it. Let's see, open one of them up and have everybody really familiar with how it works. So when a consumer comes and says, "What do you think about that?" or "What is this?" or "What is this good for?" that staff member can go, "Oh, it's really cool. We were using it and it really works to do this with or to do that with." Then customers always have questions, and where their questions are going to get answered is where they're going to come shop again and again and again. I mean, we've all experienced it. I've gone into big box stores and asked questions, and I'm like, I don't know. Well, why would I go back to you? I don't know. I'm the customer. You're supposed to know. And so I think and it doesn't take a lot. You're not like spending money training your staff. You're just sitting around talking, looking at things, using them. If you're a restaurant, try the food items. There's nothing worse than a customer sitting at a table and asking their server, "What do you recommend?" or "I'm trying to choose between two things," and the server goes, "Well, I don't know, I've never had that." Like,
yeah. Well,
why would I want to try it if you've never had it either? So it's just about informing your staff.
I'll go back to Trader Joe's. When I worked with them back in the 90s, that was it was small, as started here in Southern California. They moved up. I was one of the first stores in Northern California. And we would open up product all the time, the new bakery products that came in, or a new trail mix, or something like that, just to get an experience so we could share with those customers, because those types of customers at that store, they were savvy, because they did feel like they were part of it. And Trader Joe's, I think, had done a great job of building that community, and small businesses have that opportunity.
And that goes back to what I said before about, aligning with your fellow business owners. Maybe one day before the madness starts, have all the businesses on the street get together and walk through everybody else's store and let each store owner explain what that is. So if you have somebody who walks in your store and says, "I'm looking for this," remember Miracle on 34th Street where Macy's sent them over to Gimbel's? Yeah. That kind of thing, where you could say, "You know what, we don't have it, but 4 doors down, they do, you know, and I saw it, and it's really great. So where you're involved, it's not just you doing the selling, you're involving everyone in that area to help cross-promote for everyone else. What a great service that would be.
More collaboration.
Yes.
And again, we see competition created by the big box stores. The small business can focus on the collaboration there.
And it's to everybody's best advantage, because if the store down the street or the restaurant down the street is doing really, really well and bringing people to the area, you're going to get spillover, whether you're marketing to them or not. So you want to really work with your fellow business owners.
And this can work then online as well, because I can have on my website that small little boutique selling the great little gifts. I can maybe put in, hey, my favorite restaurant is doing a 2-for-1 special, or check that type of thing as well online.
Yes, because then people come to trust you. They come to look at you as a trusted source, almost as if, I don't want to sort of belittle the word friend, but they kind of think of you as a place where one of the scary parts that we've seen about recommendations and ratings online is that a lot of people actually trust those ratings and recommendations online more than they trust people they know. And so you want to become that trusted source. You can do that. Hey, if you're looking for this, or you know what, this from like a particular company, if you're a small boutique and maybe you bought from a company and maybe you are only carrying 5 of the items that they sell, you might even say, if you like what's here, go to their website and, you know, tell them, because maybe then they'll promote people back to you. Sort of have a reciprocal arrangement where each one is saying, hey, shop here, hey, shop there.
Yeah, no, it's great, the cross promotion. I want to go back to people for a moment. We talked about the employees, right? Opening up products, let them try it, see what's going on. It was just having this idea of you could maybe have a friends and family sale downtown that is all of, and if, hey, you say you're a friend or family of this store, while you're at my store, you get a 10% discount or something. That's the community building. That's
a great idea. It is community building. And while, you know, we've heard about the economy is this, the economy is sluggish, you know what, when you look at the numbers, it's not. The economy, you know, we have a low unemployment rate. People are in that shopping mood again. That's why every projection from every place that you see says sales are going to be up the whole season, on Black Friday, on Thanksgiving Day, every day has projected sales increases. But still, I think what the recession did is put everybody in a value mindset. And so while people are shopping, it's not that they're looking for bargains, it's not that they're looking for something, you know, that costs $5 or less, but they're looking for the value. So that's where you can be really creative in looking at what you sell, whether online or off, and creating that value that's going to make customers want to do business with you, not only this month, but throughout the year.
One of the values that I know that smaller businesses sometimes offer, I'll go back to the little boutique in my town, is that they would gift wrap items. And so that can be a nice kind of value add, doesn't cost a lot of money. Online retailer though, can we do that? Can we provide that type of service if we're just strictly selling things online?
Well, I think one of the things that you can do, because you probably don't want to wrap the item for them because they probably want to see it before they gift it, but what you can do is if you say, if you spend a certain amount of money, let's set a limit, you know, maybe $25 or $50, you'll send free gift bags. You know, gift bags don't cost a lot of money. You can buy them in bulk, and you can imprint them or you can not imprint them, where, you know, people can then reuse them. Maybe there's a little thing inside that says, you know, what your store is, but send a gift bag for the orders that are over $25. Again, what are you doing? You're saving people time and you're saving them money, and that's everybody needs time, right? We don't have enough time. So if you can do something that makes it more convenient for the customer to shop with you, they're going to shop with you every single time.
And that's an excellent idea. Include a little bag. You can go to the big box store, buy all those bags cheap, instead of the person thinking, well, I can order, well, but then I have to wrap it. I'll just go to the store, I'll just buy it there because I have to buy all the other things, right? So it's great to show that value. Again, folks, on Twitter, BizCircle Live is the hashtag. A couple questions that were coming in, and one of the ones that just came in here, Rieva, was about getting new customers this time of year online, and how you can use your website, your email list as a way to generate those new customers, and then hopefully give them the experience to turn into those year-long customers and be back for next holiday season. A tip or two, how do you get those net new customers online?
since you can't really, if you don't know them, right? Email marketing doesn't do you any good, except whatever email marketing you have, make sure there's a shareable button on it. So you can send to your customers, share this with a friend, and maybe even incentivize them to do that. But what you really can do is social media. This is where social media shines, right? This is where things like Twitter or Instagram or Pinterest really, Facebook, you're still basically talking to people you know. But those other three, people are sharing that, and they're seeing what other people are sharing. So you really want to go out there on social media. And again, there's a lot of noise right now, so be really smart about not spamming people with a lot of noise, but with maybe talking about promotions or talking about specials, or saying something. Use hashtags wisely. If you live in a certain community like Irvine, California, use the Irvine hashtag. So maybe a surrounding city, like here in Irvine we're surrounded by Tustin and Santa Ana. So if you use a couple of hashtags, people who follow the hashtags in their city, they'll see that and they'll go, oh, I've never heard of that store before, I might try that. And again, you want to do a lot of cross promotion. You want to host a shopping night, a local shopping night where you're reaching out to people you don't know. And the one thing on Facebook that you can do is Facebook ads are really cheap, and you can target communities that way, target your marketing. And local shopping directories. You want to make sure that, and do that this week, you want to make sure you're listed on all the local shopping directories. It doesn't cost money to be listed. You just want to make sure you claim your listing, because even people who shop in a retail store, go online first to find that retail store. And that's something that a lot of business owners are like, well, I'm not a retail store, I don't sell stuff online. It doesn't matter. It does.
Let's talk about adding to that, making sure you're able to be found is one thing. Let's talk about being found if you're offering a service as well, because we've talked a lot about selling product. But what if you're a service? Let's think of a nail salon. Could you use Instagram to take pictures of someone's fabulous nails that had little Christmas trees or snowmen or something, say, hey, look what we just did?
I'm a big fan of service entrepreneurs looking at tried and true retail tactics and seeing what works and incorporating them into your service environment. First of all, almost every service that I can think of can also sell stuff. You can, the nail salon is obvious, you can sell polishes. But even if you're an accountant, maybe you can sell some software. If you're a marketing person, you can also sell some software or sell some templates, or there's always something that you can sell to people to add that product component to your store. But even as a service, think about sandwich shops that like buy 12 sandwiches, get one free. So use that kind of tactic, or recommend a friend, and if your friend signs up or comes in, I'll give you, and you have to figure out the discount, 10% off your next purchase, or buy this, and next time you come in and you spend only $5, you can get this at a discount. You can play with it. It used to be from the sandwich. There's a lot we can learn from food places. So in the old days, that thing was like buy 12 sandwiches, you get your 13th free. Now a lot of them are buy 12 sandwiches, you get your 13th free, but you have to buy a drink. Well, there's so much margin in drinks, that $1.39, which to a consumer, I'm just spending $1, it doesn't matter. To you, that's all profit to you. So you're making almost total $1 of profit while you're giving somebody a free sandwich, and they're invariable. And then make sure you hand them another card. So that works for any kind of business, mostly. I mean, a doctor, it's going to be kind of, you have to think about who your customers are and the image that you want to convey.
Right, that you want to do there. Again, folks, the hashtag BizCircleLive, so use that for questions, comments. Also use the webcast player. Towards the end of our hour here, and we've got about 20 more minutes, so we'd love to encourage more questions and comments. I'm also going to remind you about some of the other conversations we've had, because I think there's some great conversations to be seen in our archives I want people to be aware of, so make sure you stay with us for that. Let's get into, we're trying to capitalize on this holiday season, and I want to also, though, think about once we get someone, you don't want to let them go. So let's say that we've created the environment this holiday season at our retail store on Main Street, and people do come in. They come in for the hot chocolate night. We've done a friends and family. We've incorporated a couple other of the stores. So we're growing this little community. That can't stop then come December 25th. It can't stop December 31st or at the New Year's sales. That's something that then we want to build upon and continue to grow so that we have even more traffic probably next holiday season and the one after that, and keep growing.
So one of the things that, first of all, that small business, a lot of retailers make the mistake of, they think the holiday season ends, like you said, on December 26th or December 31st, and that after that, anybody in January is just looking for rock bottom prices. No, you use gift cards. This is something that a lot of small businesses don't offer. If you offer gift cards in your store, so somebody coming in, they don't really know what to get somebody, or for a lot of kids love gift cards, rather than grandma picking something out. So if you offer gift cards, those people are coming back in January. So one, you have the advantage of taking what could be a kind of a sleepy month and making it a good month for you. But if you sell gift cards, they're the gift that lasts all year long. And so it's going to bring people back into your store all the time. The most important thing to do is when somebody shops with you during the holiday season or whenever, you want to capture that information. You want to capture their name, their email address. You want to make sure that they opt in to getting emails from you, and then send a monthly newsletter. I'm not telling you to do it every week. You don't have to, overwhelm people with information, but send a monthly email newsletter saying, hey, come on in, we've got this new, look what's new for spring. Here's some information that we're not a sell. Let's say you have a clothing store in December every year, so it kind of gets lost in the holiday rush. Pantone, the color people, they always issue their color of the year. And so if you're selling clothing in January, send out an email newsletter saying, ooh, Pantone said the color, this year it's radiant orchid, right? Last year it was some kind of emerald green. So it really changes. You want to send that out so people can put that in their head and then start, well, I don't have anything in that color, right? So they're going to want to come into your store and get something. Everybody wants to be hip and with it on the trend. And so you can inform people on a monthly basis, but you need to capture the information.
As you're saying that, I'm thinking about a lot of the type of mailers I get, and I want to ask you about mailers, going kind of old school, using the postal service to get the message out. But some of the more effective mailers that I get from a small business are like the real estate folks and the mortgage folks that give you little updates about, remember to clean out your dryer lint, thing, because, okay, and it just keeps kind of top of mind. A retailer could do that of any either service or product.
Right, and retailers and this is a great thing for service entrepreneurs to do as well. This is a place where a dentist or an accountant can send out, like whether it's monthly or quarterly, a tip, like, here's 5 tips for this, or don't, it's spring, here, don't forget to do that, or, spring clean, but keep your tax records for, this many years, don't forget to do that. And so again, the more that you can make yourself seen as a useful resource to people, the better that's going to be. And I think that's really, really key, again, to build that community spirit and to build the fact that I trust that person, I like that person, they have my best interests at heart. And that's what you're trying to get.
In building the community in your newsletter, you could say, and I, small business owner, was down the street over at Bob's Hardware, and Bob reminded me about X. He can provide you with those same services if you want to. Again, the cross promotion.
Right. And it makes people feel like they live in that kind of feel-good place that we see in the old Frank Capra movies, that today's society, we move so fast that we've kind of lost that.
Mail. In the mailbox, 10 days ago, I got my first stack of 15 catalogs, and I said, okay, here it is, it's on, holiday season is here. Now I get about 2 or 3 catalogs per week. For the small, a lot of that goes right into the recycling.
Right.
For the small business, is that still valuable as a way to connect to our local, whether it's just a flyer that says, hey, check out our website for deals, or come down to our store for the hot chocolate event? Do you still see that as a valuable way to market?
I think there is. Don't try to do a catalog. It's going to cost you too much money, and good business on a catalog is you get 2% of sales. So that's a lot of wasted money. Postcards work. because people don't get a lot of postcards. So you can, and I think that the post office still has some special deal with postcards, and there's some deals where you can get them delivered locally for even cheaper. And so go down to your local post office and check out what you can do on a regular size postcard or slightly oversized postcard, because those stand out in the mail and people don't have to open it, so they can look and, oh wow, there's a great deal going on, I'm going to see that. And I think, again, people appreciate that you're not, sitting there trying to fool them with envelopes that look a certain way. One of the other things that's really important, I want to mention, that last year there was a lot of, particularly for online retailers, a lot of problems with delivery in time for the holidays. Everything, bad weather, bad timing, bad whatever, a lot of things blew up. And so a lot of the experts are predicting that for online, people will be shopping a little bit earlier this season because they're afraid that people aren't going to get their gifts on Christmas, and we do have a condensed shopping season like we did last year. So one, people, you might want to, if you normally promote, and there's also a free shipping day, which I think is around the 18th or something. If you normally promote on the 17th or something and you're an online, you go all out, you might want to move it up a week because people are a little nervous. Also, this year, to help that, the United States Postal Service will be delivering 7 days a week during the holiday season too. So there'll be Sunday deliveries as well. So again, nobody wants to, for a consumer to get stuck. So know that as a merchant that you want to have a few more options using the Postal Service to deliver your gifts, but also know that consumers are nervous because of what happened. It happened to me,
It's the worst thing to say, hey, I got you something, now you got to wait till the next time I see you. And because we are busy and hectic, sometimes that turns into a February gift or something like that.
Yes, and if it's a kid, it never goes over well.
No.
They don't understand.
Then you go out and you spend a whole bunch of money somewhere else.
Right.
Now you're stuck with this gift. You got to give them some other time. So, folks, more questions and comments coming in, and I want to get to those. But we just talked about the old mailbox. Let's talk about the newest of mailboxes, and that to me is our cell phones.
Yes.
And we are, and I was reading a few articles and was reading an interview with one of the CEOs of a very growing software application development company. And they're doing great work and growing leaps and bounds because, and the CEO believed this, that this is where we're going to shop. And this is where we're going to get information, is on that mobile device. So doesn't mean that mom and pop retailer is going to go away on Main Street. But I do believe, and I want to hear your thoughts, that it means that mom and pop also need to be in my pocket on a mobile website. It has to be optimized for me to use their site, find them online, get directions to their site, maybe buy products or services. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. It's kind of my soapbox issue because the consumer, the American consumer, has adapted to mobile faster than I think anybody thought. So it's not just your website, which has to be responsive design, is an easy way to do it. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Or it has to be adapted for mobile, but it's also your emails. If your emails are not easily read on a mobile device, people aren't going to bother to read them. Delete. They're just going to delete. And study after study has shown that if people go to your website and they cannot see it on their mobile device, they don't jot down the name and wait till they're near it. They move on. They're done. They'll find someone that is. And so your website has to be mobile friendly. It has to, and responsive design, I think, is the easiest because we see, phones with screens this big and screens this big. And so the responsive tablets also, right? And so it adapts to whatever environment it's in. But you want to make sure your site is mobile friendly, which generally means more buttons, not really, should have pictures, particularly if you're selling online, but not pictures that hog all the bandwidth that people can sit there like this waiting for it to load, because again, nobody has any patience. They're going to move on. It's the most important thing I think that you could do, particularly again because even if you're a local retailer, people are going to go to their mobile devices to find out where you are, what time you're open, what you sell. It's a reference tool. It's replaced anything we've ever used before. And statistics show across the board, people think, well, I mainly sell to seniors, or almost 50% of seniors are looking for things on mobile devices as well. So you just don't have an excuse. You're going to lose business if you are not mobile friendly.
One of the excuses, though, people will say, and I've still heard, it costs a lot of money. I don't have that in the budget. I'm a small, my margins aren't there anyway. I can't do mobile. It's not in the cards for me. Your response?
It is cheap. You know, we think about the things that, like you said, I've been covering small business since, other than growing up in a small business from the earliest days, I've been covering small business since 1978. And one of the things that used to be expensive, like, you know, your first laptop computer, you can get a really good laptop for $300 today, you know? And so things are not expensive anymore. Contact your web host and see what we changed our website to at Small Biz Daily to mobile to responsive design, and it cost us less than $500. But if you don't have $500 or $1,000 to spend, chances are you're not going to make it as a business.
That you won't be here for the next holiday season. And Sherry is on board with us. So Sherry, welcome. Thanks for being with us here today. Wants to go back to the idea that we were just talking about the kind of shorter time frame of sales this year, because I think Christmas is a Wednesday. I don't have the calendar in my head, but it's a little shorter.
Thanksgiving is late.
It's late, and that's what kind of condenses things there. Sherry, part of an auction type business, and so she's concerned about the selling time, that she has less time to sell. She wants to try and extend that, but because of the shipping cutoffs and all that, do you have any advice for someone like that who's kind of on that time sensitive? You have to stop the auction at a certain point in order to package up, notify the winner, et cetera.
So I hate that I'm about to say what I'm about to say, but, you know, I've heard a lot of complaints about my friends that the season has started early, right? The local radio station is already playing their Christmas songs, and it's normally they launch on Thanksgiving Day or the day after. They're already doing it. Christmas trees are up and lit in areas. If I were Sherry, I would start now. You know, I think people are kind of used to it. They've been, you know, there have been stuff in the stores since basically mid-October. And so I would start now, and people will be more upset if she extends it beyond, and unless what you want to do is say, you know, here's an option. You can pay for expedited shipping, and then you can extend it beyond. So there's one where it's going to cost a little bit more money. Not you, the business owner. You want, you know, if it's that good a deal, maybe someone will be willing to pay $5 extra to get it shipped overnight, and explore the options that the shipping companies are offering. Sometimes the United States Postal Service can get things there within 2 days at a very low cost. I forget the name of the program they have, but if it fits in a certain box, it goes in 2 days, and it doesn't cost, I think it's less than $10 to ship. So you want to look at all your options to do that, but you also, people understand if you say, hey, we want to make sure you get your gift in time for the holidays, so we're going to have to, you know, cut it off here and just start selling. I hate that the holiday is being started early, but people are doing it, so you might as well join them.
And that's just it, is there's no reason not to, and you don't want to be left behind just because you want to stand your ground and say, but I don't start celebrating Christmas until December hits. If that's the way the world's going, you have to be there for your customers. And if your customers are starting early, as a business, you should.
Well, Mother Nature started early, right? There's snow in like they were saying, 5 feet of snow in Buffalo, New York today. So you get with the season. You just want to make it as convenient as possible for your customers. And I think if you emphasize that in your marketing, if Sherry would emphasize that in what she's trying to do, you know, we want to make it as convenient as possible for you. So here's our normal cutoff. If you need a little bit more time, then it'll cost $10 more.
Free shipping is something that the big box retailers have dominated, and often, for me, that can be a decision if I'm shopping online. I still am a little old school. If I can buy it locally, I do like to just see things and touch things first and figure that out. And then, hey, it's easy for me to buy. But occasionally, you know, and I do a fair amount of shopping for sure online. But free shipping is something that gets my attention from the big retailers. I don't always see that with a small business. Do small businesses have to start exploring that idea of free shipping to compete?
You have to. That's one thing where I say you can't compete on price, but survey after survey after survey of online shoppers say free shipping is a big deciding factor for them. So what you want to do is, again, set a minimum. And it shouldn't be, I signed up for this website that sells clothing the other day. And I like some of their stuff, and they send me these emails, and it's free shipping after I spend $150. No, I'm not going to do that. So I just delete. And now they've got me in that mindset where I'm like, I don't care, because I'm not going to spend that. And so if you make it a reasonable amount, like $25, and then it's free shipping, and then what people will do, and this is, they've shown this, people who maybe are going to spend, or maybe make it $30, who maybe are going to spend $20. They'll shop more so they don't have to pay for shipping, because if they're going to spend money, they'd rather spend it and get something in return. And so offer a lot of items that are you know, like little stocking stuffers or something that people can add to their cart to get them to that free shipping minimum that you have a good margin on. And that way people think, oh, I can get this, and then they'll tend to go beyond that because it's a lot of little stuff. And, oh, I need 4 of those, you know. I got 4 stockings that I need to stuff. And that way you'll end up actually making more money than you ordinarily would have.
And that could come back to Main Street. Spend $30, we'll wrap your gifts for you.
Yes. Yes, it's absolutely. Or spend $30 and we'll give you this free little doohickey here, like
ornament, something that
pick something out, and go to the stores that are really successful. One of the things that Sephora, which they're not everywhere in the country, so if it's a makeup store, but at the aisle where people are checking out, they have this display of little, you might call them, stocking stuffers, but they have them all year round, where they're items that are $15 or less. They might be sample sizes. So people standing in line and they're bored and oh, that looks kind of cool.
I need a new brush.
Right.
And so people pick up that new brush there.
Right. Yeah. So look, there's 2 things here about the checkout process. One, if you have a cash register like that, look there. So, and what you can put at checkout, so people will impulse item, and if they're cheap enough, they'll be putting more than one of them in their cart. 2, look into equipping your staff with tablets or phones where they can roam around the store and say, are you done? Are you ready? Do you want to check out? And people are looking at that long line and going, and like right there on the spot, you can do it. You can bet they're going to go tell all their friends that I didn't even have to wait in line. Again, you're saving people time and they love it.
I've seen that at Sephora. It was actually there recently, and that's how we checked out, was using a young lady had her, I believe it was the Square device on top of her phone. Let's talk about that. I mean, I think that's a great technology for small businesses. And again, it gets people in and out of your shop. It feels like they're getting that very personal service. And you don't have that counter now between you that I'm now this person back here. But you're very personal with your elbow to elbow. I mean, that's a great, I think, personal way to use technology to get closer to your customer.
Right, because you can have somebody go up and say, did you find everything you need? And as they're standing there, people go, oh, you know what? I'm looking for this and I didn't see it. And you can walk right over there with them, with basically the cash register in their hand, find it, put it, add it in, and they buy it. And it's, again, it's a cheap technology. It doesn't cost you a lot of money. And that's the one thing, today, age of technology, it can be overwhelming, but there's so many easy to use, really inexpensive technologies that are going to endear you to your customers, and customers are used to seeing it. One of the things, live in Southern California, legendary fast food restaurant In-N-Out Burgers. You go to an In-N-Out Burger at anywhere near the 4-hour lunch hour, like 11 to 3, the lines are just, so they're the first place I saw it, where they would have people go out online and take the order, pay there, and so all people had to do is drive up to the window, hand their food, and go away. It just sped up the line so much. So think about, one of the things I think business owners can do, it's not just look at your own type of business, but think about going back to what we said earlier about being a consumer, the things you see in your life as a consumer, and can you adapt that kind of activity into your own store? And if the big guys are doing it, they've tested it. You don't have to worry about it. You know that it works. Just do it.
And you do a little modification then for your needs. But yeah, know that they spent the R&D. They did the focus groups. They spent all that big money. Now it's and maybe though, a small business can execute just a little bit better because that big box store is just so big. They can't train every single employee, or a few of those employees were sick or just didn't show. You know, your small group at your store, they're going to be there. So, you know, helping them engage and be ready.
And if you have, you know, if you have full-time sales staff, they're the ones I would equip with the devices because they can then get to go ask customers questions, get to know the customer gets to know them, and again, you're emphasizing that community environment.
I want to, as we look to begin our kind of wrap up here, want to get maybe, let's start on Main Street and the retail store, the small business. What's one thing you would love to see that you could be in any city, any state, and you could walk into a small business and they're doing what to endear themselves to their customer? What's one thing you'd love to see every single small business retailer doing?
Create almost a home-like environment. Have chairs for people people might come in with their kids, or somebody might come in with their spouse or with a parent who needs to sit down, and, you know, have a place of chairs that people can sit in. Make it a welcoming environment. Not every store does that, and every small business has the capacity to do that. You can, even if it's a bench, make it look like you're saying, hey, come on in, relax, we'll take care of you.
It might mean one less shelf for product, but creating the environment will endear them to keep coming back.
Right, because you're telling them you don't have to worry about anything when you walk in here. You don't have to worry about your spouse impatiently, you know, pacing back and forth, or your mom who's got a bad hip, you know, maybe she just needs a place to sit down. You don't have to worry about any of that. People will linger longer when they're not worried about the people that they're shopping with and what am I going to do with them. One
thing you'd love to see every small online retailer doing?
I think for online, you need to do a little bit more of creating again, a welcoming environment. Offer something extra, like the gift bags we talked about, like the gift suggestions we talked about. And then for everybody, if I can sort of jump that, online, Main Street, wherever you are, get mobile optimized. If you are not mobile friendly well, you should be now, but customers will not do business with you. It's just that simple.
Well, Rieva, that's where we're going to wrap up today's conversation. Do appreciate you being here. Folks, several resources for you. Of course, the Business Circle from AT&T, several articles and other content to look at, including articles and content from Rieva. A few other events that we've done, some live Q&A sessions. I want you to check out David Howitt. He began our series, and we talked about finding your passion. So I want you to check out that archive. Ramon Ray, you know Ramon. He was with us last month, and we talked about mobility. We also talked a lot about using social media to grow your business, to find new customers, to make the connection. And something we've been talking about here today, community. Smallbizdaily.com as well, your blog. Great resource to find additional articles, more in-depth dives into some of the tips that we talked about here today. So again, lots of information, folks, that you can check out one more time for the Biz Circle. Visit the website, look for the content that we have there, the other events that we've done, and we hope to see you on future live Q&A sessions. With that, we will wrap things up. Again, my name is James Hilliard, and we do look forward to talking to you all down the road.